Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. This match is going to be between Incontrol and Idra. We have Incontrol starting at the 12 o'clock position. Actually, I'm going to do a color switch here as the teal zerg. Kind of random that it switched it to that. And at the 6 o'clock position, we have Idra starting as the red terran, and this is going to be on destination. And between these two guys, really going to have to favor Idra because he plays very safe. He plays, and this is one of those maps that really favors safe play. You can see these bridges, you get Medic Marine on there, you even get Mech on there. Mech is very, very strong on this map actually into the mid game. Basically, Terran has a lot of options here, specifically a lot of safe options to work with, and that is where Idra really plays well. Incontrol, really not as good with the Mutalist micro. It tends to be a weakness in his play. I'm hoping to see that he's improved that, just kind of mix up his style here in these matches, and really this is going to be the match where he's going to need it here. On destination, I think Mutalists just play better because of the mobility. You can still work with Lurkers, which tends to be his bread and butter. Actually, his big bread and butter tends to be map movement, which again, this map really punishes him for because there's not a lot of counterattacks, there's not a lot of holes in defenses you can work with on a map like Destination. Specifically Destination, I feel like Coliseum is another one of those maps where it's not going to favor Incontrol's style of play. Really Python, one of those good maps where I feel like Incontrol can really succeed on. But in Tau Cross, actually, I think he can have a lot of success on that map. However, Destination and Coliseum in particular, I think he's going to have some difficulty, particularly against Idra and his very safe style and his very strong style. He plays very, very well against Zerg, and I would say, I know at least a year ago it was the strongest matchup. I'm not sure if it's the strongest matchup anymore after all the time spent in Korea. Looks like we're seeing some sort of 12 build here from Incontrol, probably a 12 hatch since he is sending that drone out towards his natural expansion. But Idra, yeah, very strong against Zerg, very strong in his safe style, but maybe if Incontrol decides to do some all-in 3-hatch Ling style of play, Idra can get caught off guard by Cheese and kind of that non-standard play into the mid-game. It just kind of catches him off. He really likes that. He plays extremely well, and it's almost impossible to beat when he knows he's going up against that standard style where you can scout that off. But if you can catch him in the dark and go for some of that cheesy mid-game stuff, he can really be thrown off guard by that sort of thing. So Incontrol might be able to sneak a game in here, but again, I worry about it on this map in particular, on Destination, just because of those ramps, because of those clogs. So SEV Scout, now that I've hammered that point home over and over and over again, spawning pool place, so it doesn't look like we're going to see a quick third hatchery from Incontrol for any sort of economic challenge here. It looks like Idra sneaking that SEV in. Wow, Idra being very aggressive, going one barracks without a single Marine into expansion here. It looked for a second like he was thinking about taking his gas, but actually going to back off. I apologize for the sirens here in the background. But yeah, still no Marines produced on this front door, and just really calling. I guess he specifically saw, this is actually very wise, seeing that there's no larva to speak of here and that they're being completely consumed before the spawning pool is placed. He knows he's not going to be facing a large Zergling attack to start, and as a result, on that secondary, it shows you the beauty of scouting and being heads up. He's going to be able to get that command center and get a really big economic leap on Incontrol right off the bat. Looks like that third hatchery being placed as well as that gas. And again, I really want to see Incontrol go for a 3-hatch Muta. It's possible we'll even see a 4-hatch build. That Overlord sneaking in here, going to see this command center. Let's see if that gets a reaction or rise if he decides to pump the Zerglings to kind of challenge that. He does have, it looks like, 2 Zerglings out in the field. One, it looks like they're both going after that SEV Scout, and he is producing a couple additional Zerglings here out in the field, so really might want to challenge that front door. But I think Idra might get a bunker down before not too long. It's kind of a wise thing to do against Incontrol in general. And getting those additional barracks, getting that academy up as well, and honestly with just the pure amount of Zerglings, might even be able to block it off with just the SCVs and Marines. Zerglings, not powerful units, not a lot of health on them, not very sturdy altogether. So still, yeah, it looks like they're going to go wander out, maybe try to pick off an early kill or two. Looks like 4 just wandering out to the 9 o'clock position, or I'm sorry, the 3 o'clock position, maybe just to do a little bit of exploration. Idra still has that scout, is waiting to see whether he's going to see that tech to lair, and again, the best way to counter some of that mid-game cheese where you can end up kind of hurt in the dark is to basically just make sure you're always scouting your opponent, or you got to always have a good look at his Zergling count, and Idra is doing just that, keeping this SCV Scout alive for quite a long time. But it looks like Incontrol being sneaky, and he's going to try to flood these Zerglings out where basically Idra cannot scout, where he cannot see them, and basically rely on the fact that Idra will not build proper defenses in the meantime, feeling that he's safe, maybe cut corners, which is a pretty safe assumption considering that you saw him take an expansion right off the bat without producing any Marines. But he does have a significant amount of Marines to deal with these Zerglings, as long as these SCVs come off the line to provide a bit of blockade fairly early on. He shouldn't end up with too much trouble, and Incontrol is going to end up in a really bad situation. Now it looks like Teching Delaire to kind of follow. He's going to end up in a really bad economic spot to follow this, should Idra be able to defend it, though. And it looks like we already have 2 medics. Incontrol going to push that corner. Let's see if the SCV, how many SCV kills he gets. He's going to run the ramp. A fire bat in the mix as well, and this is just full of fail. Yeah, Incontrol going to have to back off. Still thought he might be able to sneak a Zergling in, but not able to do so. And yeah, now you can see those bridges coming into play. Idra playing it very safe, getting those fire bats out with that early academy. Very wise on his part, and I think that was directly to counter something like that. I definitely think he saw it coming, and we are seeing a Spire from Incontrol, so good for him. Still going to probably want some Sunken Colonies to deal with this Medic Marine Firebat force moving out in the field. And now let's see if Idra, because Idra knows Incontrol, he knows his playstyle. He might be thinking, oh, he never goes Mutalisks, and he might end up getting a little bit complacent on the turrets. It looks like he is going for Weapons 1, though, actually, to deal with more of that Mutalisk harass. But at the very least, let's see if he can press this. He's not going to be able to really move against these 2 Sunken Colonies, not with this attack force. But no, he's going to move in for it and just run all the way across. So beautiful timing by Idra, actually realizing the timing of those Sunken Colonies would be too far delayed, that he'd be able to move those Marines out to that 3 o'clock position, able to get a couple Zergling kills, getting pinned a little bit, but still able to sneak out with a single medic and 2 Marines. Not able to get a lot of kills ultimately, but able to bleed a lot of Zerglings. So a little bit of excitement there. Didn't pay off, almost paid off. Really a razor thin margin there, and Idra has to be kicking himself right there. That was really, I can't blame him for that. That was a pretty good run for it. Now getting that factory down to get the science vessels out a little bit sooner rather than later, also has that factory in transition. Mutalisks being produced from Incontrol, and I still don't see any turrets being placed by Idra. Okay, never mind, he is getting a couple turrets down, but I still don't see any turrets near his main, and it looks like some Zerglings sneaking to the secondary